Welcome to this introduction to the Growing Project by Grand Union. The following short film presents various filmed and photographic images of projects carried out by the Growing Project in 2020, in which inner city spaces are transformed into community gardens. The locations are a canal side and 3 different housing association gardens in Birmingham. The film tells the story of the development of the city gardens, exploring the spaces and the people involved with them, documenting how artists and community partners work together to transform and revitalise the sites. You will hear the voices of the various partners involved in the projects, who share their experience of the Growing Project and their role within it. Each of the speakers will be introduced. As they speak, there are images of people creating raised beds, sowing seeds, tending to growing plants, harvesting, cooking and sharing food. The banging, sawing and drilling sounds accompany the construction of a raised bed or a bird table. Given the nature of the film, audio description is kept to a minimum. Images of people gardening in an urban setting. Cheryl Jones, Director, Grand Union.
The Growing Project programme works across the city with people who are experiencing homelessness. We're an arts organisation in Digbeth and we support artists to make work in lots of different ways. The key thing about the project has been making a way to connect with our neighbours. We're working very directly with St Anne's Hostel Crisis, and we're also working with developers like Bruntwood and Homes England who are very active in the area. The magic of the Growing Project is the way that it brings these different constituents together, sharing experiences. That then has an impact on the city and the way that development can happen, the agency that people have themselves, and the way that artists can make work to support all that to happen.
Kieran, a volunteer with Growing Project.
Anything that I can get involved with, I do get involved with. The therapeutic aspects of it, it's something that's intrigued me for a long time.
Stuart.
Every Wednesday I look forward to it, and more people are getting involved now. Made me a better person.
Paul, St Anne's Hostel resident.
Growing our own vegetables and then watching someone else cook it. It's given me a different perspective.
Joe Capper, Collaborative Programme Curator, Grand Union.
Just because somebody doesn't have a home doesn't mean to say that they have any less investment in a city. We're not like a gardening company that just comes in and redesigns a space. It's a very democratic approach to enable the residents to build the relationships with their space and with the plants and wildlife that exists.
Matt Cox, Artist Gardener.
I started last August 2020. We've sat down with the residents and we had to think then about, well, how do we design the gardens? People started to then talk about having an area for seating, growing vegetables and other things to eat. So that's why we decided to do some more traditional vegetable growing.
Carolyn Morton, Artist Gardener.
The house has a turnover of residents. It felt to me natural to enhance the woodland nature, the native planting. Really the whole premise of the garden is that it will be an oasis both for wildlife but also for the residents of the house.
Kirsty Clark, Artist Chef.
To start from seed to grow to plate, really to give people agency over their own food, their own health and their own well-being.
We've got 3 sites across Spring.
Lucy Bird, Community Engagement Manager, Spring Housing.
All have got gardens now, which didn't necessarily have gardens which the tenants could use before. Most of the tenants that we work with, based in like a single bedroom, and having that outside space, especially due to COVID, really meant that they can engage in something.
Kieran.
It all came about through Crisis, who were helping with homelessness. I've always been interested in gardening. It really fits quite well with me.
Stuart.
We've got peas, potatoes, all your different herbs, chilies, the lot.
Paul.
We're growing cabbage, beetroots, spring onions, and the colours are fantastic.
One guy's from Jamaica. I know there's another guy here who's from Turkey, another guy's from Iran. It's that ability to create community and friendships where they wouldn't have existed before.
When I first got to the hostel, you clam up, you keep yourself to yourself. But with the Growing Project, it helps you more. You know, we've made new friends.
Thumbs up from the volunteers. Rob Valentine, Bruntwood Director.
We recognise the part we need to play in delivering a sustainable, thriving city. And I've always been interested in helping facilitate that conversation between the business community and the arts community Those two communities in the past have been very separate, and I think it's really important that the third sector organisations have a more in-depth, broader conversation. The Harvest Dinner really projected the growing project into that next level and gave it a confidence in the city and able to then move on and do more.
Photos of people enjoying a meal and conversation together.
The project culminated in a big harvest dinner where we brought together city officials, landlords to sit side by side with the residents to really think about how we could build more inclusive communities. Everybody's thoughts, opinions, beliefs, experiences is valued and has a place.
Everything connected with the meal was done by us. The taste and the colours were so different to a normal meal. It made us proud.
The whole project in this site is to really think about how we can use the produce that we're growing as an enterprise so that the growing project can be self-sufficient in what they're growing, but also self-sufficient in what you're sort of producing.
Kelvin, Spring House resident.
I sit in the fresh air on days like this when the sun's out, it's amazing. This is a real garden. It's got me out of the house and I've really enjoyed getting myself involved.
The beauty of getting all these different people together who have different backgrounds and experiences is that when they come together, they create something that couldn't have happened before.
The tenants are coming from outside where they live into the gardens and just making it more of a home.
The garden offers many different ways for people to tell their story and have their story heard.
It's an ever-changing group of people, but I think that's what you need in a way because the garden itself is ever-changing.
It offers stability and structure and a sense of place. I think every person sort of feels that.
I think there's a real unique opportunity in this post-COVID world to rethink about how we deliver a more sustainable, a fairer society.
We've created an amazing model that really values people and place. What needs to happen now is for wider communities to start to connect and help to take care of those projects in the future.
The whole team poses for a group photo.
You can physically see that your work effort's providing something. The whole shebang's really quite cool.
Credits roll. The Growing Project is supported by The Space, Arts Council England and Community Fund. Edited and directed by Seema Gonzai. The audio description is provided by Tony McBride for Vocalise.